Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to my channel. This is This and That Reviews. My name is Elliot, and this is a channel where I compare movies to other movies because that's how my brain works. I just love comparing movies to movies that I've seen, and whether or not this movie is a good movie or a bad movie, I like comparing it to other movies because it always reminds me of something. Everything is derivative, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And sometimes movies can come out and maybe it's based on something else, but it's just as good. Sometimes it comes out and it's not just as good. And that's what we're here to discuss. This is Friendship, Tim Robbins and Paul Rudd. And I went into this movie watching a couple of trailers, almost in the back of my mind, maybe I wasn't fully paying attention to the trailer, because I remember going into this, because I went into this movie about a week ago, and this review was coming out late, and I trust that nobody cares, and because I just like talking about movies, and that's why I built this channel. It was just so that I could log all my movies. And I've been meaning to do this review, and it just took me a week to, or the next week to do it. And so I remember watching this trailer kind of. Every time it came on, it wasn't completely grabbing my attention. I understood the gist of it, that it was about, that it was essentially a cable guy movie. And so that's what I went into this movie assuming, and it is, technically. So now what I mean by that is there was a movie a long time ago. It was called The Cable Guy with Jim Carrey, Matthew Broderick. And there's a lot of versions of this kind of movie. And The Cable Guy was just the first version in my head. But essentially how this regularly plays out is you have a regular person who is a regular guy, or a regular, a regular person, and somebody comes into their life to be their friend. And then that person, over the course of the movie, becomes weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder, and you start to see the cracks. So maybe they become really fast friends, and then, just it devolves. Or maybe over the course of the movie, they become greater friends, and then it devolves. But essentially, it devolves. And essentially, that person is just an incredibly weird person. Take that how you will. So in some instances, it's obsessive. Sometimes it's a girl that comes into that person's life, and maybe they want to form a relationship, like a swim fan, and then that person becomes obsessive. In the terms of The Cable Guy, it's just literally his cable guy, and it's Matthew Broderick playing just a straight man. He's just a serious guy. He's just pretending he's in a regular movie, it's not a weird movie. And then you have, Jim Carrey entering this movie as Jim Carrey, this wacky guy, right? And he's in a regular movie. And that is the easiest way to describe this movie on the surface. On the surface, yes, that is exactly what this movie is. And I'll say this up front. I don't think that I would buy this movie on Blu-ray. It's not a great movie. It's not an all-time classic, I need to own this movie. But at the same time, I would recommend people to watch it because it's different. And the way that it's different is that I didn't know going into this movie who was gonna be the weird guy. And that's how vaguely I remember seeing this trailer. Maybe I saw it 2 times before just watching this movie just on a whim. But it was just one of those things that I just went into this movie basically blind, other than knowing that it's about a weird person entering a friend group. And so when I started this movie and you follow Tim Robbins as your main character, the reason why I say that I would recommend this movie is because there's a bias towards a main character in basically every movie. No matter who the character is, male or female, whatever their belief system is, you want to attach yourself to that person. When you're watching, as a straight male, right? When I watch, what's it called? I was gonna call it Tiana, Princess and the Frog, about a black female in the bayou, right? In Louisiana. It's the farthest away from me that you could possibly be, right? You attach yourself to Tiana, right? As that character. You say like, oh, what are her values? Like, who is this main character that I'm going to follow for the rest of this movie? She wants to own her own restaurant. I don't want to own a restaurant, but I'm just like, okay, I could see, let's get her that restaurant. Let's do that. We're going to get this restaurant started. She makes amazing food, right? Oh no, now she's a frog. And I feel, oh no, what if I turned into a frog, right? That you attach yourself to the main character, right? I didn't know that Tim Robbins, our main character, is the weird guy. In fact, when he meets Paul Rudd, that almost further made me believe that he was the weird guy. He has a mustache, he's a news reporter, like he's doing his best Ron Burgundy and Anchorman. Like it's like the director told Paul Rudd, like, I just want you to be Will Ferrell from Anchorman. Just do that. You're gonna wear this, you have this as a job, and I want you to do that accent. I want you to be the just do his voice. Do an impression of Ron Burgundy's voice, right? And so like I was like, oh, Paul Rudd is clearly the weird guy, right? And the movie plays out, and you're like, oh no, I'm the weird guy. and that was such a weird experience to feel for this character that is so socially awkward. He just doesn't take social cues. Back in my day, back in, the cable guy days, we would have looked at a Jim Carrey as, what a weird guy, what a weird fellow, what a weird freak, right? What a weird guy, right? And I'm watching this with today's lens, and I'm just like, where on the spectrum is this guy? Is this guy autistic? Like, that is now the new phrasing for like, you're such a weird guy. You're not a social cue guy. It's just like somebody running into your friend group when you're talking about sports or something, and they just run over and they're like, I like hats, and you're just like, huh, all right. I didn't know that, and now I know that. It's just like that kind of person. It's just like, it's not like any of that is inherently wrong. It's just, what a weird comment. We weren't talking about hats, but okay. I also like hats. I don't like hats. I actually do like my hair. My one defining feature of my life is my hair, and I actually don't wear hats. I don't know why I use that as an example. So you're in the position where you are attaching yourself to a character that is inherently kind of the bad guy of this movie, but you're watching it through his perspective, and how he just doesn't understand. It's about a marriage devolving, and it's not outwardly stated, but it's very obviously there. It's very it's there. Like, you can definitely see it. And you're not supposed to think about that too much because he doesn't think about that too much. And so you're just supposed to be like, oh, okay, it's gonna, whatever. And then, when it happens, it happens, and you're just like, yeah, this was all there. But since your main character isn't focusing on it, then you're not focusing on it. And it was just such a unique experience. It was like if you dropped Jack Black into The King's Speech, but you told Jack Black to just be Jack Black, and he's the butler. I don't know. I haven't seen The King's Speech. I just know it's a very serious, Colin Firth, Oscar win all the award movie. And I can just imagine that type of movie and a Jack Black just being like, no, I'm gonna do a speech. You're gonna do a speech. You're gonna do a speech and stop stuttering. Yeah. Just that kind of character in that movie. That's who Tim Robbins is in this movie. And you're trying to attach yourself to him by understanding why he's doing the things that he's doing, but he doesn't have reasons for doing the things that he's doing, other than he's just a very lonely guy. And it was such a weird experience. Like, I feel like if this was on Hulu, which it feels like it would drop on, I would recommend watching it. I don't think I would own this movie, but I think as just a one-time watch, it's such an interesting movie. So it's not that I hated it, but I don't find myself wanting to watch it again and experiencing this awkwardness. If cringe humor was a movie, it would be this movie. Because that is what this guy is. He is cringe humor to the max as his personality. That's just who he is as a person. It's just these jokes that you're not sure if they're supposed to be funny. Like, I'll give you the opening joke. It's him and his wife in a AA type meeting. They're in a circle and they're expressing their, frustrations and like how life is for them. And the wife says, "I haven't orgasmed in months," right? And then he just it immediately pans to him, Tim Robbins, and he goes, "I'm orgasming just fine." And I'll leave you on that joke.